You are listening to Legacy Moments, where we have authentic conversations about life, business, and so much more. I am Dr. Patrice Berry, and I am joined by my co host and mom, Johnny Lloyd. If you are watching us on YouTube, we are actually in the same building, which is amazing. Thank you, vaccinations and all of that. But we are excited to hop into today's topic. I posted something on TikTok earlier this week that was a response to a question that said, how can I teach my daughter to be a woman if she's only seen me be a mom? And that really triggered a lot of extra questions, and I promise to cover some of those here. What are some of your thoughts on this?
I love the question, number one. And the question sounds like an external question for an internal concern. So part of it sounds like something you're hearing in your head about what you're not instead of what you are. Motherhood and being a mom is something you do. It's not who you are. I mean, and I say that because I say, I am a mother. I am a mother. I am, but it's not your identification. You know what I'm saying? So if you went and this person says, what do you do? Who are you? They say, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom. That's not who you are. You're an amazing, bodacious, bold, brilliant person that takes care of your children, which is your legacy. So I'm handling my legacy. That's what I do. I'm handling my stuff. That's what I do. Because if you're not careful, people will cause you to think that you're less than because somebody else is working corporate America. But you're building children that are going to be working for a firm or be over CEOs. I like building CEOs. It's just what I do. So building CEOs are someone that has vision, purpose, and destiny. So don't make that small.
I like that you said that because it was almost like mom was here and then woman was here, when really we can be both. And I like that you said that motherhood is something that you do. It doesn't have to be your whole identity.
Yeah.
Because I have seen people struggle when their kids graduate from high school, when their kids leave, and then now they don't know who they are because so much of their identity was wrapped into being a mom. I think finding your purpose, I think it's similar within motherhood, and it's also similar in general.
Yeah.
So how do you go about finding your purpose?
But you know what? It's interesting. People act like their purpose, they have to search for it. Your actual purpose is in you. It's in you. You have to, and I'm going to tap into that. You have to gain the confidence to look for it in you. We want to look outside of ourselves for what we were created to do. However, that puts on the paintbrush of somebody else telling us what we're good at and all of that. Who are you? What do you enjoy doing? And that's part of your purpose. What have you been through? Like, one of the things that happen is sometimes people look at their history and say, well, that's negative and I'm not going to think about it, blah, blah, blah. But the key about it is part of your history will tap into your destiny. It will tap into your purpose. It taps into the things that upset you. For me, as an example, because I was homeless, right? I don't like homelessness. And it's not that I don't like the people. It's not about people. I don't like the state of homelessness. I'm very compassionate. I have empathy for the people that are homeless because it's so painful, right? But it's coming from a place that I have feelings, right? So when I look at that, that's something that taps into me. Now I have a purpose to help people financially to not be, I'm gonna call it broke. It's be poor. Let me go there. Poor, because broke and poor is not the same. Poor is a mindset, broke is a pocket set. You may be broke in your pocket, but you're not poor mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Same thing with purpose. The thing about purpose is most people want to know exactly what it is right now, this moment, and then just follow that line. Purpose is a journey, it's not a destination. You know what I'm saying? Because think about Patrice. Part of Patrice's purpose is exactly what she does, but look at how it has blossomed under pressure.
And I'll talk about that. That really, I really liked Michelle Obama's book Becoming, because it really helps solidify the fact that purpose at one point does not have to stay exactly the same. But I do think it is helpful for people to have a goal. And you mentioned the things that people go through, and that relates back to one of my favorite quotes by, and I have to think about it, and I will link it on the YouTube channel, that talks about, if you have a why, you can survive almost any what.
Oh,
And that going towards purpose, going towards that life, like having some bigger purpose, that can really be helpful. For me, in the midst of the pandemic, that was when I launched my first business, and then got on TikTok and things went really well, and then launched a second business to make sure that my clinical and non-clinical services could be very clear. And I was able to use it in a way, but I always will always go back to privilege, that not everybody has the same starting point, that not everybody has the same things. Because the thing that really helped you get out of your spot was being open to leaving the country.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about leaving. They said, where do you want to go? Because I said, I can't stay here. I said, this is not working. So I was desperate. I was hungry for something greater, right? But I was desperate in my heart because I knew that where we were was not where we were supposed to be. Me being on orange shag carpet with my daughter Patrice on my chest, me bawling, crying, and I was not going to be a victim. I'm just not. So I said, anywhere. They said, where? In the world. Wherever in the world. I had a degree, I had all those things, but that didn't stop me from being homeless. So I'm going to go back to what Patrice said, is that I know a lot of people look at, well, I'm not like that person, or I do this. And we look at who we are from somebody else's mirror. So what I recommend you do when you look at you as a mom, you as a person, you as having your purpose, is to look at you in the mirror and say, who am I? What do I enjoy? Right? And then look at this. No matter how big you're thinking, use your imagination. And no matter how big you're thinking, don't dismiss it. And then the next thing I would say to do is start where you are. I started from homelessness. Now, I was not poor here. I was broke. I was broke and owed a bunch of people. So all we took to Okinawa, Japan, is they said, well, no, we're looking for your shipment, and how much stuff are you going to ship? And we had, look, there was 3 people going, because my sister ended up going with me, who I love and adore. Anyway, so all 3 of us, right, went 400 pounds. 400 pounds. And it was paper. We owned, paper and some clothing. That's all. Most of the stuff belonged to her. Because we needed stuff for the baby. You know what I'm saying? My mother like, what in the world? So we ended up going to Japan. But one of the best decisions, because it changed my imagination. So sometimes you have to go for a walk. You have to look at something you've never seen. There are so many virtual, and I'm not talking about virtual reality. I'm talking about go to something real that you can touch and feel, even if it is on the screen, and just imagine yourself where you desire to be, and then do the work.
I love that, because it talks about comparison too, because you said focusing on yourself. And as a mom, that was one of the biggest things I had to do. I couldn't compare myself to other people. So this person, okay, their child is sleeping this amount. And when the person asked the question, I really felt like I was able to reclaim my womanhood as my child gets older. That first year was tough. That first year was rough. We were able to nurse, but once I was done with that, like, I felt like I got parts of myself back. I got parts of my body back, and I enjoyed it. I will not, like, those memories are with me forever. But I did feel that as my child gets older and as he starts to get more independent, I'm able to step away from him for a moment. I'm able to go to the bathroom. Like, it's really those little things that you're able to do, and you start to get parts of yourself back. And on TikTok, I talked a lot about self-care. And we have some other, because that goes back to our compassion fatigue, so we don't have to get to that here. But I think as you're walking out your purpose, making sure that you're taking care of yourself, that you don't burn out striving towards this goal and then lose your family, lose everything else along the way as you're going for this goal.
Okay, so this is what I would recommend too, is when we look at purpose, is to look at, what does purpose mean? What does it really mean, right? Purpose is connected to your passion, right? What are you passionate about? Purpose is connected to things that typically that you enjoy. Typically. And so what I have structured with is that my purpose in so many points of my life has changed. And I'm going to use Patrice's scenario, and she's going to laugh when I lift it up, is that I was retiring and I knew my purpose. Listen to me, I had a direct arrow where I was going, and this chick next to me was pregnant. She was pregnant, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm gone. I mean, not gone away from her or anything, but I was on my own path. And the reason I'm saying this is because some people say, well, what if this is not my real purpose? What if it all works out for your good? And I'm going to show you is that she had me promise something. Listen,
she promised that she would take care of her grandson for 2 years.
Now, y'all know that wasn't natural. Now, y'all know. Wait a minute. Really, y'all know that wasn't natural. You know that wasn't what I was in an emotional state. Key. Watch what you promise while you being emotional.
What you agreed to.
Yeah, promise. Because I made a commitment. I did promise her. And then here she is, coming out of baby face and like tears in her eyes. And she knows I'm a person of my word. This is the other thing. It's what you start. Think about it from the perspective of adding value to others, right? So I did exactly what I said, which is stayed at home with my
for 18 months.
18 months. You know what? Some people just ain't grateful. Some people just ain't grateful. They ain't grateful. Y'all got us in the same space. That is just wrong. Anyway.
It's dangerous.
So anyways, I did for 18 months because that was all I could. Really, I didn't stay at home with Patrice.
At all.
At all. I'm just saying. It's not. And so let me say this to people who are not stay-at-home moms. Everybody has a different path. Don't begrudge either side. Don't begrudge the people that can stay at home or have decided that that is their path. And for the people who are at home with their children and raising them, don't begrudge the people that are sitting in wherever, corporate America, whatever. We needed to eat. So I was climbing the corporate ladder and praise God, I
did well.
I did extremely well. Thank you. However, there was an exchange. So part of your purpose has to be connected to what are you willing to exchange to get what you say is part of your purpose. What are you doing? For an example, there is some stuff, and I can link it. A couple questions for purpose is, when you see something, what brings you joy? And when I say joy, I'm not saying laughter necessarily, but I mean that heartfelt joy. And then the other thing is, what are you compassionate about? What are you passionate about? And use words. And I there is a great book that Patrice is going to put in the link. And she has this thing in the book that's connected to purpose. And I'm telling you, when you go through this exercise, you'll find out your mission statement. Because a lot of people don't have a personal mission statement. They don't look at themselves as their own brand. So this is what, seriously, look at yourself. If you're looking for what is my purpose, look for, what do people get when they get you?
And I like not waiting until you get to where you want to be to operate within your own personal brand.
No.
So I dedicated 11 years to helping someone else build their amazing, phenomenal business. I loved working for them. I thought I was happy. And that was so odd that when I left that full-time position and was finally able to work on my own and not have the limitations of being under a contract, I was able to post freely on social media and I was able to do things that I really cared about and without having to worry about, my boss coming to me and saying something about something they saw. And the freedom that I have now, and I probably work harder for myself, but that work ethic that I developed working for them, I bring that into me. And so don't say that, oh, once I get my own, that's when I'm going to turn it on. Turn it on now.
Right now. And let me say this. She made a statement. So I'm going to do what we do when we together is she said, I thought I was happy. Well, to be honest with you, she was happy. She was happy. She wasn't going to ever lead them people. She didn't have no plan. So this is what I'll tell you. Trust the process. Trust the process of getting to the place that each year, each day that your vision unfolds, your purpose unfolds. You see a little bit more of the glimpses of it. And don't get in a place where I need to know right now what the end result's going to be. Because what you do then is you put things off. And I'm going to make this, because purpose connected to potential. And one of the richest places, Miles Monroe talks about it, and he says one of the richest places in the world is the graveyard. People that died not fulfilling their purpose. People who died with books in them, thoughts in them, songs in them, because they were waiting for a different moment. The moment is now. Start where you are. Everybody didn't have to read your book. You know you're an author when you write a book and you release it, right? I'm just saying. I mean, I'm a, 3 times international best-selling author, but I didn't start off like that. I started off with a teacher telling me I couldn't write. And every time a book is launched or every time I do something or put an article somewhere, I said, she was a liar. She was a liar. So, but I had to decide that because I could have stayed behind her decision for me and never stepped forward, or I would have never tried. So you just have to step out there and do it and face, because some people, there's critics. I mean, critics are like other parts of people's bodies and everybody has one.
I've heard people say that if everybody is happy with what you're doing, you might be doing it wrong. Like that you should be doing things in a way where you are getting some feedback. You might be getting some criticism. So there are people, I set boundaries within my business and I don't really see people on weekends if I can fit them during the week. I have some long-term clients that sometimes I will move them to the weekend if they have a temporary life change, or if I have some things within my schedule where I want to open that, but I don't do that for brand new people. And people get upset about that. And I give them referrals for other people that they can check in with.
That they can do that with. And so it's being comfortable with you. It's loving you. Is you having priorities. So what is your priority? Don't look for perfect balance.
I wanted to get to perfection because I feel like a lot of people don't take the move until they have everything, until they know everything. And to me, that's anxiety speaking, because anxiety wants certainty and control. And my favorite thing is for the 2 businesses that I have, because I don't get caught up on names. Now, the names mean something and the names are important to me, but I didn't want to go through all the paperwork of starting the new business and opening. It's a lot of work to do things. And so my mom already had some paperwork. She already was going to file some things for me. And it didn't have to be perfect. It just had to be the right fit for me. Like everything, it's not always going to be perfect. And that sometimes there's no wrong decision. I know sometimes when people are looking at, should I go here or here? I encourage people to do the pros and cons list, think about it, pray about it. But sometimes there might not be a bad decision. Just make one.
Yeah. Because not making a decision is a decision. I like the fact that stepping out. And I want to just take what I did when my life shifted with my grandson, is check out what happened. Had I not done it, that was the first time in my adult life that I'd ever not worked for someone else and had at least one business, potentially a couple, but typically at least one, right? Side thing, side hustle is what people call it, but I call it a business. With that in mind, I got a chance to rest. I mean, I was fighting it tooth and nail. Can I just tell you the truth? I was fighting it because it's like I got to accomplish something. But during that time, I wrote a book that is extremely powerful for people who are looking for an opportunity to transform.
And it's
It's
called
called
Legacy
Legacy
Moments.
Moments. And so my point for that is I got a chance to do something and speak to something that was going on in my head that I could not write, and decided to make this happen. Now there's some dynamics. If you listen to some other stuff, there's more to it, but that is powerful.
I did get a listener question that I promised to
Okay,
answer.
cool.
The question is, how am I supposed to find myself while raising children alone? And I think you're a good person to kind of speak on this because you are a single parent. Because within a two-parent household, but there are two-parent households where somebody is in the military and they are gone for significant periods of the year, and it's almost like being a single parent. Or there are situations where somebody is a truck driver and they're not always available, or they work at night. Or so just because there are two parents within the home does not mean that there is a partner that is there helping out with the children. But when you are raising kids on your own, you do have the full financial burden. Even if there is some child support never fully covers everything a child needs.
No. So this is the thing. I love that question. Thank you so much for the question, because I'm gonna first do the one thing and say alone is not lonely. Alone is something you can change. And I'm not talking about in a marriage or anything like that. I'm talking about you can build partners. You can build partners with other people that may be in the same situation. Your community can be a partner. Your family can be a partner. I started to say that word crazy. And crazy is not a diagnosis. Okay, I'm just saying.
Cut that out.
She's going to cut it out. When I say alone, this is what happened. Remember, we just talked about the fact that we went to Japan. There's the people that were born into, you were born into a family, or you know what I'm saying? And then there's the family that you get a chance to choose. So choose a family to help support you. Take off your cape. You don't have to be Superwoman. I got the song, I had the cape, I had the song, I had additional capes in the closet in case that one got dirty. That's how bad I was. But you don't have to. You don't have to anymore. So this is what I'll say, is that finding yourself, to be honest, happens while the kids are asleep. And it happens when you find a moment of joy while they're awake. You find yourself in the things that you've been blessed with. So what I recommend you do is do a gratitude journal. Okay, so it's just a blank. Go to the dollar store if you want to. Put a picture on it in front if it makes you happy. So do a gratitude journal. And on the gratitude journal, on the left side of the page, write down every day. Listen to me. Be faithful in this. Write it down every day. At least 5 things. You can't get up until you do 5. And do not touch your phone first. The reason I want you to remember that is, number one, you got up. There are people that wish they got up that morning. And it can be the 5 same things, and then stretch it out, because there's got to be more things that you're grateful for. So start that. On the left hand, after 7 days of just putting gratitude on one side, on the 8th day, the day of new beginnings, 8 is the number for new beginnings, right? On the right hand side, start putting down words that describe you. Don't explain it, just words. Just write it down. Do not do this in your phone, because what you're telling your mind is, because when you write, there's something about the flow that's going to help your mind engage. And then after you do that for maybe 2 weeks, then go out and then start doing I am affirmations. The importance of affirmation is that when you do I and the word am behind it, even though it may sound like a lie to you in that moment, it is your truth.
Because if I say I am strong, but in that moment I'm feeling weak, speaking that, and it's not in, because we did one on toxic positivity.
Yeah,
it's not taking a toxic positivity stance. It's speaking what you want into a situation that may not look the way that you want it. So that you can then maybe change some behaviors, or I can then shift myself to work towards what I want. And I think just making those steps, I think that can be really helpful. I also like that you said finding yourself, that you can do that in the midst of parenting, even as a single parent. You just might have to be a little bit more intentional with your time. I would also encourage you to not have guilt or to not live out of that guilt and shame for that person that may not be physically there. Because I know my mom tried to make up for the other person not being there. And what that did was that took away our time. And so she worked extremely hard. She did extremely well. And we lived in some great places. We got to do great things. I loved all of that. And yet I would have preferred to have had more time for her to have come to more track meets, or for certain things to have been a little bit different. And your kids will always have feedback. No parent is perfect.
No.
My kid is going to have his list of things that he wished was different. And I think that gives us as a parent a chance to reflect and model for them how to accept feedback.
And the other thing is, when you're looking for something, you said find. So this is the word I'm going to tell you. When you're searching for something, the thing that you're searching for is searching for you. So yourself, that hunger, that desire for you to find a deeper, a clearer picture of who you are, is looking for you inside. So don't look on the outside to find yourself. That's why I said gratitude journal. I didn't say put 50 other people on it. I didn't say put it on no. I'm not telling you to share it on nothing. I'm telling you to do it for you because you are worth it. And then by the time you get to the point that you're doing the I am statements, you will go back and look at some of the words that you identified who you are. And you'll say, oh yeah, I am these things. And then you'll start triggering your mind. And then the affirmations need to be said every day, twice a day. And they need to be positive. Not I will be, because your brain doesn't know how to deal with will, because will is future for your brain. So it doesn't give it any engagement. So what Patrice just mentioned a moment ago is I'm going to just say, intensify your intention to find who you are. And don't let other people speak into that. You need to define that. That's something that's personal, because this is what I'll tell you as a single parent. When I was going through relationships, or, thinking that I need to find Patrice a daddy, and I did think that, and I was trying.
Almost had one. We're glad that didn't work out.
We're glad that didn't work. But we almost had one. It was a good. But this is what I'll tell you, is that it was somebody else that was defining who I should be at that time. And I wasn't 3 or 22. I was much older than that. So my thing is that when you allow other people to define who you are, or who you should be, or what you should wear, or how your kids should dress, all of those things, you empower them to be in your pocket, that you empower them to be in your head. And so when they change what they think, then now you got to shift. Don't give anybody that kind of control, except you. And in my case, I believe in God. So I go back to my creator and do that. So I don't know what your beliefs are, but tap into that. Take a moment for silence. People don't really like silence, but silence is healthy.
And some people have to add music or something on top of it, because for some people, silence, that's when all the thoughts and things, like some people can't manage silence. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it.
We need to help. Okay, that's why she's here. So this is what I'm going to tell you as a parent. Finally, let me say this. is love your children. Love your children, and don't force your children to live out the life you thought you should have. Give them the energy to be them. Number one. Number two is because you're finding yourself, right? So that's the deal. So the other thing is watch them. Watch their imagination, and don't limit them. When they start drawing at home, when they start drawing out of the lines, or they say, I'm a pilot. Don't say you ain't no pilot. No, you a pilot. What you flying? Ask them questions. Tap into the imagination, and then you take the time to tap into yours.
I love that. And I just want to note that my mom's nickname is Mama Johnny. And so anybody that needs an informal adoption, Mama Johnny is here. We're eventually going to get her maybe posting on TikTok, but she's over on Clubhouse. You can follow her at Johnny Lloyd, JOHNNIE, Lloyd, LLOYD. She's on YouTube and she has amazing resources. If you're on LinkedIn and all that stuff, but yeah. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. One of the greatest opportunities I have ever had in my life is to be Patrice's mother. And if y'all looked at the previous video, you'll know I am not perfect. So lay down perfect and pick up in the moment, being the best person you can be in that moment. So if your moment is peanut butter and jelly, then make the best peanut butter and jelly sandwich you can make, right? Don't judge yourself based on other people's situation. And if someone is always negative and telling you who you're not,
I like to think of that like a boundary. And there's information that I let in, and then there's information that I keep out. And that's the thing with somebody that is saying things that are against what you believe or what you are trying to believe or the path that you are trying to be on. And that's why you want to limit some of those voices. And I think being able to, because if somebody starts calling me Paula, really, if you call me Patricia, I'm not going to respond because that is not my name. And so if somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, I don't think mom should be on TikTok," that's not for me. "Oh, I don't think blah blah blah." Okay, but that's going to hit my wall. That is my boundary. That's not information that is for me. You shared your opinion. Okay. And I may not even respond at all. I'm really good for that. And sometimes it's caused problems with close friends. But for me, that works because I don't give some things any energy. And especially as a parent and as a person in general, you have to protect your peace because I can't take all this stuff home to my family, to my child, and then not be able to be 100% for him because somebody was saying things that didn't even go along with what we were believing and with what we were saying. And so be careful of who you let in. When I was launching my business, I didn't tell everybody. I only told very few people because when you're launching something new, it is a baby. It can't sustain itself. It is extremely fragile. And you might be a little sensitive to what other people think. And so don't go to people that are not going to be supportive. Have your few people that you know are your ride or die. They're there for whatever, and they're going to support and encourage you. And they're going to ask you, "Oh, I have some ideas. Do you want some feedback?" And you're like, No. Okay.
And they love you enough to step back. And then you need people in your life that will tell you that you're, I'm going to say naked. Is that okay? That you're naked. You know, the emperor needed new clothes, right? And the emperor was walking around naked, and people were saying the emperor had clothes on. Oh, no, you're dressed. No, you need somebody in your life that tells you the truth. And Patrice is that person for me. Patrice, and I'm that person for her, but do it in love. Don't do it to tear down anybody, and don't allow people to do that to you. Do it in love. I can tell Patrice, like, I'm just saying, and do it in a way that it's loving. So I don't cut people out of my life. You know how people get out of my life? I soar. The reason I say soar is that eagles soar. Everybody can't breathe at the level of the eagle. When you go high, Obama, Michelle, when you go high, they drop off. Things drop out of your life when you have a goal, when you have a purpose. Back to what our thing. When you have purpose, everything starts aligning to what you know now is what you're going after. You'll start see things happen. They say, "Well, you don't have time for us anymore." No comment. You need to do what you don't let anybody cause you shame or guilt or whatever. Stay focused because you're fire when you're focused. So stay focused.
I love this. I'm so glad for people that are listening. You did not see the amazing interaction. My mom and I are in the same room, and this is the first time I think we've been in a room for 40 minutes together, no masks since in a year. And I love my mom.
For the vaccine. Hallelujah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We are over on Clubhouse at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will continue this conversation over there. I have also started streaming these live on TikTok, and we will take a few moments to answer any questions there as well. I am so thankful that you all were able to join us, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.